Welcome back to Jeopardy! We are now our 23rd round of our American History Special. Please welcome to our contestants, Victoria Sand, Olivia Davis, and Nicholas DeFilip. Let the war begin. Nicholas, since you won our last question, it is your turn.
I'll take 1752 for 100, please.
What famous speech was given by Reverend William Seeker concerning gender roles in the 17th century?
That would be Adam's Rib.
What type of calendar was adopted by the British Empire in 1752?
What would be the Gregorian calendar?
What famous experiment was conducted by Benjamin Franklin in 1752?
What would be the kite and key experiment?
In 1752, this chief of the Miami Indians was killed by a group of Indians led by the French trader Charles Langlade, marking the start between conflict between the French and British in the Ohio River Valley.
What would be Doimsel?
This tribe of Indians split between the French and British in the South, creating conflict leading up to the 7 Years' War.
What would be the Chickasaw Indians?
This type of measurement was standard in the buying and selling of horses.
What would be hands?
What type of economy system began to gain popularity in the British colonies over feudalism in the 1750s?
What would be capitalism?
In 1753, was there true equality between the sexes in the colonies?
No, there was never true equality between males and females, but this didn't mean that women had no rights. On Thursday, January 18th, a woman wrote on the front page of a newspaper that this shows that they were more equal than they believed to be.
In 1753, was the colony main focus on England?
No, even though England was the colony's main focus, there were also some interests in Ireland and Constantinople.
In 1753, what was the experiment in London with success then sent to the colonies and arrived on January 4th?
Electric shock therapy. A man who lost his ability to speak was shocked constantly. He was even subject to receive shocks on his tongue. He later regained speech and the credit was given to the shock therapy.
In 1753, what city was described constantly and decorated in newspaper?
London. London was described around holidays to give the English colonies a piece of their homeland.
Was the colonial government modeled after the English government?
Although there were many similarities between the two, there were more open rules to voting in the colonies, and people were more involved. There were speeches that littered the newspapers devoted to politics.
In 1753, what was the commodity mostly widely advertised?
Land. Land was sought after since of the abundance and the low cost.
In 1753, what was a guilty pleasure added in many newspapers that helped build churches and other organizations?
Lottery.
Was there equality between the blacks and whites during 1754?
There was little to no equality between blacks and whites. The colonists were using the Africans as slaves. Evidence of this is seen in the newspaper, where there are articles for the selling and the reward for the runaway slaves.
In London on August 28th, who was executed and why?
Job Wells was executed for the unnatural crime of raping his own daughter.
What did the colonies discover had happened between the House of Austria and the Duke of Modena?
A new treaty was made which stated things like His Highness must be appointed perpetual governor of the Duchy of Milan and the House of Austria's general in Italy, which, with a salary of 90,000 flarios a year, and His Highness is to keep on foot 4,000 men at the disposal of the Empress's queen.
What famous war started in 1754 that the colonies showed particular interest in? Which empires colonized clashed with British colonies, sparking the 7 Years' War?
The French and Indian War.
What are the three things that are being sold in almost every issue of the paper?
Farm equipment, slaves, and animals.
In England, who was the king in the 1750s?
King George II.
To the colonies, what are pistols? Please show your answers. Sorry, that is incorrect. The real answer is Spanish coins. You all lose.